Hello and welcome to CPR's Clubhouse Live. My name is CPR Jose Ortiz, and I'm being joined by DJ Racer from FreestyleLoversRadio.com and, of course, MusicLoversRadio1.com. Also joining us is DJ Danny G. Stylz from New York City Rhythm.com. That's NYCRhythm.com. And also being joined by the Duchess, Cheryl Rodriguez. Now, the reason why you see two empty spaces is because our two additional guests didn't want to be here with Racer here as well. So that's why you see Razor in the middle by himself. They were scared to come. I believe he threatened them. Due to scheduling conflicts, they could not be here. But if they do show up, we'll see them pop up on the screen as we play, the freestyle version of Hollywood Squares. We're here to go back in 2023 and just go over some of our favorite times of the year and some of our worst times of the year in a fun way. One thing that we do want to talk about is the only rule that we have here is that the individual person is responsible for what they say. So if I say something that you don't like, you want to contact me. You don't want to contact DJ Racer. If you have any complaints for CPR's Clubhouse, Freestyle Universe, please send them to Cheryl directly.
Yeah, okay.
And of course, if Danny G. Stylz says something that you don't like, make sure you contact him. I'm sure that he'll shut down your computer and every computer in your household in seconds. But anyways, I digress. So, gentlemen, how has 2023 treated you?
2023 for me has been 50-50. 2022 was amazing. And I kept hearing the rumors at the beginning of the year how 2023 was supposed to have all these bangers and all these songs and all these artists come out. And I got to say, I was a little disappointed. Not completely disappointed. I would say a little disappointed. I was expecting a lot more, but overall, it was pretty good. No complaints.
Danny G?
2023 has been an interesting year for me, but, I've had my ups, I have my downs, and, I put the smile on my face and just keep trucking on. It's just been that interesting year compared to all the other years.
And the only female on the panel, the Duchess Cheryl Rodriguez. What do you think about 2023?
There's been better years, but it wasn't the worst. I mean, a lot with what Racer said. It started off with a lot of great promises, and we really expected, I think, maybe a little too much, and then that's why I was let down. I was just expecting banger after banger, from everything I was hearing, and it didn't really work out that way. But there was some wonderful music that came out of the year, enough to keep me happy. So ending the year on a good note.
I thought that 2023 was pretty slow. I think that that allowed a lot of songs to really be played for a longer period of time. Three to the Max, I Knew It Was You. Any song from Deneen, When You Talk, Last Chance. There were some songs that got longevity because of the lackluster releases from 2023. Now, for me, there were 35 quality tracks. And then there were like 50 tracks that I can't believe they came out. And we'll be discussing some of those here on the show. But for me, I always try to look at the best part of the year and the best songs that were released. And there were some highlights for me. And we can get into the topics at hand and some of the categories as we present the unofficial official awards. So these are awards that, are officially unofficial, and it's just our opinion. And everyone here is going to share their list. There is some negative stuff happening here during the conversation. And again, the person that says it is the one that's responsible for it. So again, don't you hate that you have to do like these pre-qualifying comments before you talk?
Yep.
Have we gotten that soft on social media?
Yeah, we have. My opinions are my opinions only, but hey, whatever.
Hey, listen, let's talk about a Racer. Racer, when am I going to get my award?
First of all, listen, awards are made for artists and producers. Now, if I was giving an award for the best radio host, it would go to Cheryl the Duchess.
Oh, of course. I knew it. I knew it. But here's the thing: like you have your own station that you put a lot of time into, probably too much time, right? We all put in a lot of love into the stations and the projects that we do because we do really truly love this music. But you give more opportunity to artists than most that I can see. And you really put your all into it. You dedicate a whole night to them. You know what I mean? And sometimes it doesn't pan out in a positive light for some reason. And I just feel like they can't wait to use you as fodder, as an excuse to try to make a better name for themselves off your back. There was a couple of instances this year where I saw that it's like the guy's giving you an award, but then in the end, it's like you're the bad guy for attempting to promote them.
It's okay. So it's like this. Is a lot of people, they come at me and they say, Racer, why did you play this particular song? This particular song is horrible. Now, yes, the song may be horrible, but and Danny G will agree with this. Our job as DJs is we shouldn't have to determine which song is horrible and which song is not. We should play whatever comes out and let the listeners decide what they like or don't like, right? That's what this is all about. That's why we have radio stations and that's why we play the music. But they do I get used all the time? Of course I do. And I know that I am. So it's not like they're doing something that I don't know they're doing. I know exactly what they're doing. Little do they know that I'm using them the same way they're using me. Because bad publicity, good publicity, or no publicity is publicity, period. So,
Absolutely.
as long as they know that it's a two-way street and it goes both ways, it's fine. If they want to come in and make me a bad guy, I had an instance in the summer where I had an artist who came in, and and it was not even my interview. My interview went well with the artist, but then my DJ does a feature on it. DJ Storytime did a feature on the artist, so I do the videos for it because I do all the videos and all the backgrounds for it, and she accused me of going into her page and stealing inappropriate pictures. Well, if they're in your Facebook public page, anyone can grab them and anyone can use them. You know, it is what it is. Also, I didn't use anything improper, and everyone that I showed it, including my own wife, said this is not improper. This is it's just a picture of a woman in a bikini in the beach, right? And the same is a woman that said that I was using improper pictures starts posting pictures that I 30, 40 times worse than the one I use. So I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I'm using an improper picture, but you basically selling yourself. I don't get it.
Yeah, and again, it's not an attack on the person, but it's like I think that there needs to be some form of artist representation or schooling or teachings or learning the craft on how to present yourself on social media and how to discuss things with people in an appropriate manner. That's one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the tropes. There's a pattern of tropes that people use. You being one of them, using these tropes that they try to use to become bigger superstars in the internet freestyle community, and it really didn't turn out very well for that person. I mean, of course, a lot of these people are oblivious, right, of what they do. They're oblivious of painting themselves in a negative light. And I saw that, and I felt bad for you because I know how much um, love you put into the genre and you put into your awards. Now, I don't agree with your sentiments at times when it comes to your opinion and stuff like that, but we I do respect what you do, right? So you said that the audience should be picking the songs and what's good, what's not, and I agree with that to some extent, but I just feel like the audience now on social media has been paid for by the artist. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not monetarily; it's just by the artist being nice to them. So I can't trust their votes. I can't trust their opinion because for everyone on social media, if it's a freestyle song, it's fire, right? So, you know, a new artist that came out last week should be on the same stage with Brenda K. Star, and it's just people need to understand they need to earn that spot. I'm not sure if Danny wants to add to the conversation, so I'll open it up to him.
I mean, I agree with all of it, but I take a different stance on some of that stuff. And my comments are very simple when it comes to all of this. You know, I firmly believe that the fans empower themselves, right, to be the cheerleader for the artist. And then when they get their little groups and cliques together and say, vote for this one or vote for that one, it's not really, you know, a genuine type of vote. It's something that's bought, like you said. You know, that's why I take a different stance. You know, if I like the songs, you know, I look at the DJs on the station, like, do we like this? Some of them are like, no, then we won't play it. We won't, you know, point blank. If it's a good song, then we'll support it. We'll support the artist, whatever. But you know, to empower the people that are bought, it doesn't do much for me. It doesn't do much for the artist as well.
Duchess, your opinion?
And I agree, and I think a lot of that is very similar when you're working with a radio station and you're broadcasting something out on FM radio, and you really want it to be good quality music, and there, when you're working with social media freestyle, it's a whole different world than when you're dealing with FM radio and people locally listening to a station and loving and listening to freestyle, right? Um, and so to piggyback off of both of what you said, it does kind of go both ways, but I do think it's more important to play something that is of quality and good music and get that out there so that people know what they need to should be listening to. And that's where I come in with what I play on the station. I want it to be good music. I want it to be liked. I want it to promote it. I want to get it out there as much as possible and support the person who is doing the good music, and put the
So,
work in.
we're supposed to be gatekeepers, and we're supposed to talk to each other and talk about quality and what should be pushed. And now, because everybody has their brand and they want to push their brand the way that they want to push it, because any suggestion now is like, stop telling me what to do, And so, I do have the people that I'm that want to participate, and the people that want to contribute. So, I do feel that quality is important. And people are like, how do you know what's quality? Well, you have ears, right? If the woman's chirping in your ear and the dog is running for cover, and there's pterodactyls in the window, for a fact that song is not good, because you're breaking windows and cracking foundations. And maybe I'm over exaggerating, but what's a good song. I mean, that there's a lot of people right now, because they have some followers in the internet freestyle community. They think that they're superstars and they're instant famous, and that they should be on par with the upper echelon of this genre of music. So it is what it is, but I do want to say that I do respect everyone in this conversation, and the fact that we can just have fun sometimes. I'll inbox Danny or Racer, and I just joke around with them in private, because the frailty and the fragility that people are showing on social media with their egos, and is just amazing what people get offended by. One of the things that happened recently was that I stated that everybody who was in a freestyle group wanted to be TKA, while every male artist wanted to be George Lamond. And I thought that I called somebody's mama inappropriate word, because people were in my inbox upset. I never wanted to be TKA, and people are posting their opinion online, and I'm like, that's not true, because TKA is from 1986, and when you saw them and you saw that there were these heartthrobs, and they were out there doing these routines and getting all the women, that's what you wanted. That's the type of type of fame you wanted. And so any group that got together, they wanted to be TKA. And I'm not sure why in 2023 it's hard for people to admit that. Any idea, Racer, why people won't admit that?
People won't admit that, but because I feel that people feel entitled these days, and they want to just come into the genre without earning anything and being categorized as one of the top groups, not knowing that by even the word TKA, in the vocabulary of a group, that's a compliment. That's a huge compliment to be called TKA, but they don't see it that way. But it's the same thing at work. Danny goes through it a lot. I go through it a lot. It's the entitlement. Everybody comes in entitled, and they feel they just earn it. And I mean, they feel they should have it without earning it, and that's the problem.
Danny?
I agree with Racer. It's these artists, new ones especially. They want to come out hitting hard and be the top name in the book, but then and they look for all this glamour and fame and the minute you tell them the truth, you're the enemy, right? Hey, look, you got a couple tracks here. This and this is no good. These, however, are pretty good. They can't take that. It's very one sided. So when they look for that fame, who knows?
So they credit you and discredit you all in the same breath, and you're like, so what are we doing here? It's supposed to be a mutual respect, right? And with respect, always should be honesty. And so I always offer my honesty. I don't, people are like, oh, you should curtail the way that you express yourself. I'm like, I don't go out of my way to diss artists. I make memes, and I think the memes are hilarious. And they're not based on anyone. They're based on my experiences in the time that I've been in this genre. I've been in this genre since I was 17 years of age, and I'm in my 40s, you know what I mean? And I'm in my late 40s. So it's just seeing the tropes being used over and over again. Here's a great trope I'm going to share with you, which is one of my awards for 2023, and that is artists who hire producers that are work for hire, and then they go on camera and they're like, "Well, they said that I could sing. They wouldn't have recorded me if they wouldn't have thought I could sing." Well, the bottom line is they're not going to give you back your deposit. You know what I mean? If it's $1,000, if it's $1,000 for your production and you already give them 250, they're not trying to give you that 250 back. They want to get the remaining 750. You know what I mean? They want to get paid. And so it's not their job to tell you that your song is good. It's not their job to do anything other than record you, blend you together as best as they could, and then send you on your way with your completed track. It is the audience that you play it for that then decides if it's a good song or not, or the DJ that you give it to. For the most part, you already know you're getting a no from me, so it is what it is, and that's why I laugh at the fact that the doors are open at Freestyle Lovers Radio for them to at least get a spin here or there, but then they used you for the spin, and then 20 minutes later they're on camera like, I can't believe what Razor did. I was like, man, we can't win.
But see, PR, you should know out of all people, it comes with the territory. It
It
comes
does.
it comes with it. I don't let it phase me one bit at all. I just take it with a grain of salt, keep on moving.
Yeah, and it's not that I want to sit here and complain about it. It's just that I want the community to be aware, right? And so I hope that they're aware and they're not being taken for rides, because that's another trope, right? They love taking their fans for a ride with promises, and 20 minutes later they're in their pocket, and then a year later you see them on the lives like, they took 5,000, 6,000, 8,000 away from me, and so these are the tropes. But please stop saying, hey, this producer thought that I was good because of the fact that they produced my song. No, producers are work for hire. Artie Rodriguez is work for hire. Willie Valentin is work for hire. Edwin Ramos is work for hire. Carlos After Dark Burials is work for hire. All these folks are work for hire. So if you pay the price that they're asking for, they're going to try to make you sound as best as possible. And yeah, there are some people that can carry a tune, right? Or people that can get through a song. But if they were to sing it live, it would be atrocious, and everybody would run away, because you see that on the videos that they have the audacity to put up. But that's neither here nor there, right? It is the genre. It is what it is. Let's talk about 2023's Artist of the Year. Now, I'm not going to do female or male. It's just one person that just was excellent in 2023. I will start with the Duchess, and then we'll
Mhm.
work our way around. Duchess, who was your Artist of the Year for 2023?
I gave Artist of the Year to Deneen this year. Um, she kind of like carried over from last year, right? She had smash hit after smash hit after smash hit. She really dominated the whole year with the two songs, Last Chance and then, of course, When You Talk. And then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's kind of everywhere. And she's been working her butt off. I see her, she's in Chicago one night and she's in Jersey the next. And, she's down in Florida and she's been hustling the song. And so for me, I gave her artist of the year. Um, I had a little follow up to her though, which it could be argumentative, but I gave it to George Anthony because the dude never stops. If he's not collabing on a song, he was doing "Love So Crazy," and then of course he's got "Remember" towards the end of the year, and then about six other songs in between that he jumped on and just kept going and going and going. And so I think when I see like constant from one person, it that gives me artist of the year vibes because they don't stop doing what they're doing, and
He
those are
was
the two that kind
absolutely
of stuck
he
out.
was absolutely the collaborator of the year. He was on every track in the beginning of the
Yeah,
year.
yeah, for sure.
Jim Azor jumped on his track, "Love So Crazy," and then after that,
Yep,
you hear him on the Three to the Max. I Knew It Was You. You hear him
yep.
on the new song coming out on December 31st, which is the
Hmm.
George Anthony and Suave. You hear him everywhere. He's
Yeah,
collaborating with everyone. Every time there's a feature, you can guess it's going to be George Anthony, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um,
right.
so, Danny, what do you have for Artist of the Year?
Um, I have to give it to Three to the Max. You know, that it's just the quality of the track, everything about that track. I have to give it to them. You know, and if I had to get someone up there as a very close number one, I would have to also give it to Deneen. She's this year she's just been knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, Three to the Max returned in 2023. 1 year ago in 2022 was the return of Billy Ray, who was part of the group On Point. So, for those of you that don't know freestyle history, especially when it comes to New England, Three to the Max are the gentlemen that are there now: George, Renee, and what's the other guy's name? I'm just
Edwin.
kidding. Edwin. I did it on purpose. And then when one of the members left, I believe it was Renee, they put in Billy Ray and they turned into On Point. So last year in 2022, Billy Ray returned. And I always call Billy Ray New England's George Lamont because I'm telling you, back in the day, he was a slayer of dragons. You know what I mean? Much respect to him. But he was just that guy. You know what I mean? And, Three to the Max always said they were our version of TKA. Let me not say that too loud because I might offend someone, but that is fact. And that's what I've called them. So yeah, man, you're right on there. We're doing the top 40 songs of 2023. Next week we're gonna be putting up the top 10. This week, is the top 20. And so, it could be right there, neck and neck between Deneen and Three to the Max. And we're just gonna let the audience decide. We'll see who is gonna submit their list, right? Speaking of submit your list, DJ Racer, who do you have?
I hate to sound like a broken record, but I have to agree with Duchess and Cheryl. I mean, with your Duchess and Danny, and I got to say that I have by far easy Deneen taking it 100%. She's amazing. For artists who don't think that their personality and their attitude has to do with being pick number one, they're wrong. She
Right.
is an amazing person, an amazing artist, and she kicks butt. If I had to pick a second, it's definitely 100% Three to the Max. Now I'm gonna say something that you guys may look at me and go, "Oh shit, GA is gonna get your ass," but I'm gonna say it. They didn't need GA to do the remix. That record was already amazingly good. And GA, I love you and I love everything he does, but I didn't. I wasn't crazy about the remix. I wasn't crazy about it, and I don't think that Three to the Max needed to make that remix.
I do agree that it did extend the life of the song. The song has been played, I believe now is in its eighth month. And the same sentiment that you discussed right now was also discussed in our previous video, Worlds Collide Part 1 with Willie Valentine, Tim Spinning Shomer, the Duchess, and I. And I believe Tim Shomer had the same exact opinion as yours. So, it is a great thing, though, to see these collaborations because I never thought there would be a Three to the Max track with George Anthony. I never thought that they would collaborate together. And it was something that George Anthony did by himself, right? He just went on his own, paid the studio time, went into this, recorded that, and then submitted it to Three to the Max to see if they wanted to collaborate. And so, it took a little while, but they did. And so I like stories like that. And I do get what you're saying. I really did love the remixes. I am in favor of the original, of course, because they just slated it, and so much great beats, right, that you could mix in it at any time, that you could talk over. It's just a fun song that you can play over and over again. I will also let you know that for me, the artist of the year was Lady Moon, and I'm sorry, that's the wrong list. Wrong list. Of course, the artist of the year for me is Deneen, hands down, from Out My Body, that was released
Right.
a few years back, to then the follow up, which was a remake of a song that I didn't really care for, and then she made me care about it, and that was Last Chance. And I thought that Last Chance was going to be my number one song for 2023 when it comes to her. And then she drops When You Talk, and then for the last 24 weeks, that's all you hear: the la 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 la, the talk talk talk, the shut up. That's everything, everywhere. There's shirts now. There's a campaign. And then at the end of the year, the voice of this genre, the male artist that all male freestyle artists aspire to be, George Lamond, said, "I want to jump on this record," and he did. He jumped on it. And again, did he need to jump on it? Same thing, the GA rule, right? He didn't need to jump on it, but I welcome the jump on. You know what I mean? And I welcome it because it just created a bigger buzz, and it's a way for someone from the original generation to help somebody from a different generation get that come up, and they do it in a positive manner. So you can't hate on that. You know what I mean? The fact that he's pulling her up to another level and trying to get her booked in different places, and he even is open to wanting to perform the song with her on these shows. So if it gets Deneen paid, I'm up
Heck
for
yeah.
it. Heck yeah, right?
Yep.
And now let's talk about the producer of the year. I'm going to start with Danny G. Stylz. Do you have a specific producer that you enjoyed in freestyle in 2023?
Artie has been one of my top picks for 2023. It's the beats, different things that go on with some of the tracks, but I really don't have a particular favorite producer for 2023 per se.
DJ Racer, who do you have for producer of the year?
I'm gonna go totally on the left side. I mean, Jay Adams, Willie Valentine, Carlos Berrios, Artie, they're great. But this year, I'm gonna go with Julio Mena. He took an artist like Nicki Nance that no one's ever heard of from freestyle, and I don't know how you feel about the track, but what was it? Untrue Lover.
The remake. The remake of Untrue Lover. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that track. I like his track the same. I think Julio Mena, and I haven't had Julio Mena on my show yet, but I think he is totally an awesome producer. I love his beats.
Yeah, he's always been ahead of his time. He's a New England original, so we got to listen to a lot of his his stuff in the beginning. And there was a time where he did a song called Think. And if you listen to that song Think from, I believe it's 1996, 7, around there, it sounds like something that if you play now, people will be like, is that new? Because he had that Matrix production, and he's always been trying to innovate and try to use that soul, that the swagger voice that he has to just make it a different type of freestyle. And he does that with every song. It's a Julio Mena song by the production. It's a Julio Mena by the vocals. So that's a great choice. And who does not like the Julio Mena and Coro collaboration? I hope.
My God, that's amazing. That song didn't get as much love as it should have, at least in my opinion.
No, you're completely right. It should have gotten more love. And again, it's all about that internet freestyle community, right? Once somebody gets into certain ears of the fan base, it just spreads in a negative manner, right? So if somebody has a negative thought about someone, and I'm not saying that this is going on with Julio, but it just appears like there's a little bit of hate that follows certain artists, because of people being jealous of whatever the case may be, or not being as talented, where then they get a little cliquish and then they start spreading that whole hate. And in the end, they kind of tank certain songs, and I'm I'm hoping that that's not the same trope that we use in 2024. I hope that people can just be just a fan. And I think that if we go back to our respective corners, you're a fan, you don't have your favorites, but you listen to everything and you get to judge for yourself, watch quality. You would have been like, man, that we really missed an opportunity with this Julio Mena and Coro track because they could have done wonders.
A lot better. Yep.
Yes, of course. Duchess, what do you have for producer of the year?
I did pick Willie Valentine. Between the Three to the Max and the Deneen and the Tony Moran, and he seemed to just work on just about everything that hit me this year, and I loved everything he worked on this year. I think he did great, and a lot of stuff too. I mean, that was just a handful of songs that he touched.
Yeah, I agree with you. I picked Willie Valentine as the producer and remixer of the year. Everything he touched, he had the Midas touch. I like the fact that he goes into the 12-inch records archives and he pulls out Run DMC. He'll go in there pull out some TLC. In the future, he'll be putting in some Michael Jackson. And he's done a lot of these things that I love about freestyle, where hip hop met the current beats that we are producing in 2023, and he keeps it fresh and he tries to evolve and so I think that for me, when Deneen, When You Talk was released, I already had made my mind that at that time he was the producer of the year because again, just the sample matching the song, something that he also did with Deneen's Out My Body, because he did the tipsy thing back then, everybody in the house getting tipsy. So he's matched all these songs to tell a story with the samples that he's put in there, which is what you do with music, right? And this is what we love when mixing, you know what I'm saying? And I can't wait. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say he also did the new Ray Guel, which with the artistic mix, I'm like sick. It's like I love
that
it.
was real good.
Yeah, and
right?
who would have thought? And I said this before, I say it again. Who would have thought that Ray Guel was going to have a hardcore freestyle song? Because that's what really gave him. And I know that's what he wanted. But can you imagine Ray Guel? And I asked this question before. Can you imagine Ray Guel being in Brazil doing that Willie Valentine version in front of all those people? I think they would have to get a gurney to get him out. You know what I mean? He would have been winded. So for me, producer and remixer of the year was Willie Valentine all in one. We briefly touched on collaborations. What do you think was the duet collaboration of 2023? Racer?
I'll start. By far, we talked about it a second ago, Julio Mena and Coro, for sure, 100%. And I'm still mad to this day that no one gave that song. And as a DJ, us DJs, we talk to each other, and a lot of people, and I think it goes back to what you said, CPR, about the hate and the jealousy, said that Coro just should have done this song by himself, and I think the song would have done a lot better. This is what they said. I said, no, the song sounds perfectly well the way it is. And they're like, nah, I think if Coro made it and only Coro, it would have been better.
It's a conversation between two men talking about a woman. How could it be a one-person song, right?
Correct.
And that's what I mean. The story, people need to listen to the lyrics. The lyrics are very well done. Danny G, do you have a collaboration or duet of 2023?
Listen, I couldn't agree more with Racer. I, as a fan first and a DJ second, I've always said Julio Mena is, when you hear his tracks and what he does, it's so much ahead of his time, right? And it gets hit with the negativity and the social media nonsense. But if you take all that out, stripped all that out, there's something about that guy, man. I just can't put my finger on it. It just mostly all of his tracks that I've ever heard, perfect.
Duchess, collaboration of the year. What do you have?
He's a beautiful storyteller, Julio Mena, and he was my best collab with Coro. I picked them as well. But because we already talked about them, I'll tell you my runner-up was Luis Marte and Gennaro with that Fallen song.
Yes.
So I
will tell you that that's my collaboration and team up of the year. There's been a lot of team ups. George Anthony has teamed up with everyone, right? There's been at the end of 2023, which we haven't really gotten to promote this song the way that we should. yet, and that's Gennaro featuring Vera, or Gennaro and Vera, Drunken I Miss You. I kind of love that song. But my collaboration of 2023 was Luis Marte and Gennaro, only because I've given them both a hard time before, right? And they proved me so wrong on how talented they are, to the point where I think that they have surpassed their previous partners. And so I talked about this on the last show, but they were always seen as, the other two were the stars, right? And they were just the follow behinders, where now they fought, they crawled, they earned their respect. And to me, when they came out with Fallen, and they worked together, it's just a really great song. The story's there, the production's there. It's just a great song.
They
Um,
sound really good together, like really good.
Absolutely. Yes. I will also go to my next award, which is the most underrated song of the year. So what happened in this situation was that Luis Marte put out an EP. And in this EP, he had Fallen. And so after you listen to Fallen, sometimes you're like, forget everything else, right? I'm just going to focus on Fallen, right? So, he put out an EP, Luis Marte, and he had a song on there called The Chase. And so The Chase, to me, was the most underrated song of 2023. And there were some other ones, we talk about Joy by Milo Shawn. And yeah, Milo Shawn, Joy was a good underrated track. But Luis Marte, The Chase, produced by Julio Mena himself as well. And again, it just had that hard beat with Luis Marte's voice, and it just blended together so well. And so that's my underrated track of 2023. Do you guys have any underrated tracks of 2023 you want to share?
I'll share mine. Mine, I think, is an amazing, amazing track. It was also produced by Artie Rodriguez. It's Edie. Follow Me. To me, it's an amazing track that, again, for some reason didn't get the recognition that it deserved, but it's definitely a real good track. You got to listen to the lyrics, you got to listen to the beat, you got to listen to the production of that song. It's a really, really good track.
I think the reason why it didn't do well is because Edie didn't get into enough fights. She has to come out there, pull her hair back, start scratching people's heads. You know what I mean? Just start saying negative things about people. You know what I mean? See, when you're a sweetheart in this business and you do things the right way, sometimes your hard work is, it's not looked at, the way they should. But you get all these people that have never paid a due in their life, say DJ Racer exploited me and now they're superstars. You know what I mean? That's the difference in the dichotomy that I always talk about. But great choice. It is an underrated track. Danny?
I can't. I have to agree with Racer on that one. Sorry, it's Edie all the way. I have no other comments other than just that.
Duchess, what do you have for underrated track of 2023?
The song, it's so funny we're talking about Edie, because that's my underrated artist. But, I went back and forth with this one. So what I really wrote was When You Said, Diddle D's song, but more specifically the Beautiful Feather Freestyle remix, because the original, while beautiful, it really got me when the remix came out, and I feel like nobody even paid, and probably because he kind of disappeared, I don't know where he is anymore. He's not around to promote his own song. Having said that, I don't think it got the attention it deserved. It was really kind of old school. It was a beautiful and well written song, and I don't think many people even know about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I had Jay Adams do the Beautiful Feather Freestyle remix. I'm sure that everybody here got a copy, right? Because I sent it to you. But it is a great song. It is underrated. It was my runner-up, by the way. And we got to get a milk carton with Diddle D's picture on it because he's gone. Haven't seen him in a while. I hope that he's well. I hope that he's safe. And I hope that he enjoyed that joke because you are missing. The man from Into the Night to collaborating with Julio Mena on his first track when he's on top of the hill with a sword, trying to fight the forces of evil, and to When You Said, Jay Adams remix. We do miss that voice, a true talent, you know what I mean, in the freestyle community. is Diddle D.
Yeah.
When it comes to comeback of the year, Duchess, what do you have for comeback of 2023?
Um, so for me, it was Tony Moran. The comeback for me of 2023 was Tony Moran, hands down. Beyond excited, was not disappointed in the least little bit. And for him to come out with something and then Willie working on it, and it was just, to me, it was a masterpiece. So he is my comeback of 2023.
Racer, what do you have for comeback of 2023?
Clear Touch with the track I Know. Clear Touch has been gone for many years. They came out of nowhere with this track, and they hit it out the ballpark with this one. I love it, but that's a track that's missing remixes.
Yeah.
That song needs remixes because as a DJ, the intro is horrible. You can't do nothing with that intro. You got to like do the best that you can. So I say that's a great track, but it does need remixes.
Yeah, unfortunately, that track won't see the light of day. Hopefully, they will get together and work out whatever differences they have with whoever they have a difference with, and put that out there because it is a great track. And it was a song that we had to take out of our top 10 countdown because people were asking for it so much, and it was never released. Where they were upset with me, like I managed them. You know what I mean? So we had to put the. It's a great song. And nobody layers vocals like Clear Touch. They were doing high notes, background vocals, ad libs, harmonies, all in the first 20 seconds of the song. You know, it's like, I'm like, what is going on here? It was great. What about you, Danny G?
It's I was really excited for Deneen. When you talk by Deneen, um, when I started seeing her name pop up in 2023 with all her tracks, I was just like, this is great for her. I love it. Other than that, I would have to say Tony Moran.
Great comeback. I agree. We're all in consensus here. Tony Moran was the highlight of my 2023. He was my top get for an interview, and I was able to do that. He had a shirt on when he did an interview with me. It was awesome. And so it's the most intimidating or intimidated that I've ever been in an interview because it was Tony Moran. So we go back to the TKA thing, right? When you wanted to be a producer, you wanted to be Tony Moran, the Latin Rascal, the producer. That's who you aspired to be in this genre of music. And there's no producer that would be like, nah, that's not true. Because they're like, yeah, we were inspired by Tony Moran. Because if you listen to It Must Be You, the extended mix, and if you're not happy and jumping up and down in the first 20 seconds, you're not a true freestyle artist. Because for me, It Must Be You is my top two favorite freestyle songs of all time. The extended mix, and having to have the honor to interview Tony Moran in 2023 was probably my career highlight. It's just amazing to have him, and to have him inbox me sometimes or send me a message, or he's a very busy man. He's everywhere. You know what I mean? I believe the day after we did our interview, he went to like Japan or something, another country. I mean, he's just traveling everywhere. But for him to come back to our genre of music, I think that Hurt So Bad should have been bigger, right? I think Hurt So Bad should have been put on a pedestal and continue to be played. It kind of died down a little bit after 7 months or whatever. It should have just been something that everybody should have played as an anthem, for the entire year. It was a great comeback. Let's talk about new artists, right? Now, the new artist of 2022 for me was Nora Evelle. Hands down, she was amazing. 2023, I got to go to you guys to ask you, did you see any new artists of 2023 that caught your eye or caught your ear? Racer?
Crystal with Heart Collector. And I'm going to tell you why. She's got great vocals. And in freestyle, we always say the same thing. For this genre to continue elevating, we can't continue to have the same artists continue to give a song. Yes, when they do, we enjoy it. But if it's going to elevate, it needs to elevate from the youth. And the youth needs to continue it and continue it and continue it. And I think Crystal has a great opportunity to bring younger people into our genre and continue it to grow. And again, it's not like I'm giving it to her because she's young. No, I'm giving it to her because she's got great vocals. I wasn't crazy about the track, the original version. Everybody knows that, but I think that the LG remix brought it back to life and gave it a nice pump. And I absolutely love the remix.
I think my only well, the reason why I didn't promote the song, but she did earn a spot on my top 40 freestyle songs
I
of
saw that.
2023
Yes.
because she did earn her own spot. She didn't get any help from CPR's Clubhouse, but she made her own name and put on into the ether, into the community, into the IFC, as we call it, the Internet Freestyle Community. But the thing that I did not like at all, it was a big turnoff, was the fact that she was introduced as an R&B artist, right? And they were like, she's an R&B artist, she's not freestyle. And you could hear people in the community, she's not freestyle, and this rejection of our music. And then because it didn't pan out, no matter what happened, I'm not sure what it was, then they did a remix of the song into freestyle. And it wasn't a good remix because you can hear the vocals trying to catch up to the beat in the production. So I want her to be introduced to our genre properly, right? She is the best artist of 2023, right? By default, because after the remix, it was someone that is new, that people liked and they got behind, which is great. So that's awesome. I just hope that we have people not be P. Diddy's, you know what I mean? All up in the video, all up in the forefront, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that want to use the youth and be, I want to be nice, but this is a term, right? Is a vampire, you know what I mean? A clout vampire, where you're going to take this young person who has talent and you're going to suck the life out of them because you want to be in the forefront, you know what I mean? And so
Absolutely.
you got to let the artist be in the forefront. And if they're going to be freestyle, then you got to teach them about freestyle, which I'm sure she knows some things about freestyle, and nurture her to sing freestyle music in a freestyle manner. You know what I mean? And so I don't have anything against her. I think she could have been my pick for Artist of the Year in the new artist category. I just chose to not choose anyone because I didn't hear anyone in 2023 that was actually introduced as a freestyle artist, as a new artist of 2023. But that is a great pick, Racer. What about you, Danny G?
I really don't have a pick for that because when I listened to all the new freestyle songs and all, I couldn't really determine, who's new that popped up in 2023. I couldn't comment on that.
What about you, Duchess?
I too didn't really pick anybody, although I did put in Diva Rios. I enjoy her voice. I really like the sounds of her. I would have liked a better song from her personally, but I think that she has so much potential and she's very talented. So I'd like to see if there's something new, or she
Yeah, I
comes
would
out
love
with
to
something
hear.
next year.
I would love to
Yeah,
hear a hardcore West Coast freestyle song like
right.
like a Laura in My Dreams, like a Desire, just a great track from her. She has great vocals,
Yeah, she
but
does. Yeah.
the Baby Back song just reminded me too much of Chili's, and
Right.
I'm sorry, I take responsibility, but every time I heard the song, I want my baby back, all I hear is Chili's. I want my baby back, baby back. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not sure why there wasn't someone in the studio like, hey, not a good
Yeah.
verse. You know what I mean? And
Right. Right.
but I will say she has talent, and she also earned a spot on my top 40 freestyle songs of 2023 because
Oh,
she
that's
did
right.
earn her own audience. Tim Spinning Show was a big supporter of her. He played the track, and he had her on his top 10 of 2023. So those things you do have to consider, because you have to consider the songs that people you respect are playing. And
Right.
so, I respect my panel and I respect the people. So sometimes you got to go back and take a listen to songs that you may have rejected. So that's the artist of 2023. Um, And so hopefully in 2024 we get some new blood and the youth movement. Does anybody want to talk about the worst song they heard in 2023? Now, you can have an out, right? You don't have to submit any songs right now. I do have one because it was 5 minutes and 17 seconds of my life I can't get back. But does anybody want to share first, or you want me to share first?
You share first.
No, go right ahead.
Okay,
Go right ahead.
there's an actual video of this song. All right. And if you could make it to the whole 5 minutes and 17 seconds, you may deserve a prize, right? My worst song of the year goes to Romance Style. What a name. Featuring Nashali, and it's called Déjame Saber.
I will say mine, and I have no problem saying it. Phoenix was it for me. I couldn't do it.
Did you like the remix?
You know, not really just wasn't a fan of the track, period. Other people, they were like, yeah, I like the remix. I like the track. And I guess it's more of the presentation factor, how it was kind of just thrown to my face, and the history behind who sang the song and all that stuff. I just wasn't interested in any of it. It didn't do it for me.
So your interest was gone away?
Yeah.
I'm going to plead the fifth on this one.
Great. Okay, perfect. What about you, Cheryl? Pleading the fifth?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Worst artist of the... Anybody want to dabble on the worst artist of the year?
Michael January. Michael January, hands down. And I'm not ashamed to say, I want to go on record by saying that I don't know the guy, never spoken to the guy, but I was appalled by him before the song came out, which I forgot the name of the song. I don't even know the name of the song.
It was never released.
When he started posting and he started saying what Freestyle's been waiting for, finally the best freestyle coming to a stage near you. I'm like, and then I listened to what the F? I'm like, no, no, that Michael January.
Danny G Stylz, you have one?
Nope.
We're good here too.
For me, the worst artist of the year and any year, it has to be Evelina Destiny. My God, how does she continue to make new music year in and year out? I will never ever know. But I got to enjoy Knick Knack, Patty Wag, Give a Dog a Bone, which is not a freestyle track. But anything, Honey Bun, there's so many songs, and you can't tell what was released where and what's a remix and what's new. And I just can't, you know what I mean? But right now I would like to change my mind and say Michael January. Now I'm kidding. You can't call Michael January an artist because he's not an artist. He's a dancer, and he danced for 20 minutes and then sang the song for 13 seconds and then went back to dancing. So it is what it is. These are people who just require attention. Do you think that a producer should be selective with the projects that they take on, or is work for hire work for hire?
I think credibility goes a long way. You got to be selective. It's your name and reputation on the line. So if you're gonna pick up an artist that for a fact can't sing for the money, just quit while you're ahead.
What if they're paying you $2,500 for a remix?
Not even worth it. It really.
Expense.
Credibility is everything.
What if this is their business?
Sorry, I refuse.
Okay.
You get out of here.
What about you, Dutch? What do you think?
Well, it's difficult to say because when you put it that way, it's your business and that's their income and the way they make money. I understand why some would just take anybody for the buck and get the job done. But I really, really do agree with what Danny is saying. I really think you got to stand by what you put out, and your credibility is everything. And if you're putting out crap, no one's gonna want to come to you. And I just think it's bad for business. Just like with the radio, you want to put out the most quality freestyle. You don't want to play a bunch of crap. You just don't, because you want more and more people to tune in and listen and expect that from you. And I think I want to
There was
expect that from my producer.
there was a
What?
post a few days
Oh,
ago on in the internet freestyle community by Mickey Cubby, and he didn't mention any artist. All he said was
go
not
ahead.
even the best producer in freestyle could save this song. And I got 6 phone calls. 6 phone calls.
I bet.
And I'm like, I
I
don't know
bet.
what you're talking about. What's going on? I go check. I'm like, Mickey, what did you do? And he just put something random. And it's like, oh, you're trying to get attention. No, he's trying to be nice. He's trying not to divulge any names, because if you divulge any names,
Yeah.
people get upset. You know what I mean? And so I understand, work for hire is work for hire. And is that trope. People use their money to get into the music. I mean, it's happened before with people like Magicus. They pay the amount that the producer wants to get for that project. The producer does a great job. You can't tell me Carlos Barrios didn't make him sound like $1 million, right? But the bottom line is that in the end, it just does a disservice to the music. So, my opinion is, I understand, that it is work for hire and the money's good. So sometimes they have to say yes. I'm not in their position, so I can't judge them.
They got to make a living. They got to make money. But at the same time, it's like me. I put myself, and when I get asked to DJ a gig, I turn down gigs that are willing to pay me $2,000, and I say no, no thanks. I don't want to do it, and I'll either hand it to a different DJ or just won't do it at all. Danny said it perfectly. At the end of the day, it has your name on it, and if it has your name on it, they're gonna come back at you and say, "I can't believe you worked on this track."
That's
Yeah,
like
That's
Carlos.
right.
That's like Carlos Barrios doing a track for Michael January. Come on, like, are you kidding me right
please,
now?
please don't put that into assistance, please, bro. Like, come on. I love when I used to DJ back in the day, and you get that drunk guy. Hey, tú tienes esa cancioncita que dice, pum, chi, pum, take me in you. I'm like, oh God, please get out of here. That hot beer breath, you know what I mean? It's just
Hmm.
good old days of freestyle. Who do you think is the hardest working artist of 2023?
I'll start. Um,
Oh, go
it's a
ahead.
lot of hardworking artists. There is a lot of hardworking artists, but I got to give it to Brenda K. Starr, and I give it to Brenda K. Starr because Brenda K. Starr just doesn't dabble in freestyle. Brenda K. Starr dabbles in freestyle. She does dance, she does EDM, and she does Latin music. And you know what? When Christmas comes, she gives you a Christmas track. And she's willing to go out, and in my interview, she said it. I've interviewed her twice. She said it. She goes, "I'm not too small or too big for anything. If it's quality and it's something I can work with, I'm gonna try it. Because if I'm not willing to try it, then I'm not a real artist." And
Yeah,
and I give it to her.
I give it to her. Yeah, her being on New York TV this year was nice with Melissa Bonilla and Joe
With Bunny,
Zangi. Yeah, I love that. Always Remember is a great song, one of my favorites of 2023. I like listening to the vocals. You know what I mean? Club Jumpers did a great job with the original version. I love the classy poppy freestyle version that I got from Jay Adams. It's just a great song. It should be on everyone's top 5 of 2023, if not, number 1. You know what I mean? It's a great, great track. If Deneen would have not released When You Talk, it would have been a toss-up between her and 3 to the Max, right? But we'll find out who's number 1 for 2023. I love Brenda Kay. I love her voice. I love the story of the song. I like the celebration of her loving, her significant other. I like the story. It was really well done. So that's a great, great pick. Anybody else want to share their hardest working artist of 2023?
Yeah, I think George Anthony gets it. Everything you see from that man, from social media to the tracks and everything, he's there, right? And he's one of those artists that you look at it, he engages, very very friendly. He's on almost every track that you hear. I think that man, even last year, he's just constantly working, pushing out stuff, and he's working with different people, collaborating with different people, right? Track could be good, track could be bad. He's still out there, hardest work.
Good choice. You can't complain. George Anthony again, the beginning of the year with Jay Mazur, Love So Crazy, and then after that you got collaborations with Three to the Max. I Knew It Was You. Collaborations with Suave. Collaborations with Sapphire coming up. There's a lot of collaboration. You know, of course, you can't forget Cynthia. You can't forget George Lamond. Those collaborations. Also collaborating with people behind the scenes, you know, to assist them in different ways. You know, I know that he helps artists. I tell him to stop doing that, but you know, it is who he is. You know what I mean? The reason I tell him to stop doing that is because in the end, it'll be like a pro wrestling angle. They hit him in the back of the head with a chair, and then you know they turn on GA, whatever. But you know, that's a great choice. Our friend, the Duchess Cheryl Rodriguez, what do you have for that award?
Well, this is so great because I literally wrote Brenda K. Star. Because if she's not performing, she's promoting. If she's not promoting, she's on TV. If she's not doing salsa, she's doing freestyle. She's ridiculous. And I also wrote George Anthony. He was my runner-up. Because again, to piggyback off of Danny, he never stops. And like I said earlier, he collabs on everything. And quite frankly, I don't think there's anything he's done that I could honestly say, oh, I did not like that. Like everything he puts out is so rich and good sounding that he's great.
I didn't choose George Anthony only because people be like, oh, we already knew you were going to choose George Anthony. He's your boy. He's your friend. You're on Team GA. Whatever. You give him the name GA. So my choice was my choice was Suave, and the reason why my choice was Suave is because of the dedication that he put into his music, his songs. Also doing a collaboration with George Anthony, but in the beginning when he did the remake of Fast Forward's Baby Don't Go, he put in so much vocal work into those tracks to make them sound good. He has 3 different versions from 3 different producers. He was back in the studios at Platinum Recording Studios so many times to fix little things and being a perfectionist. And you can see the love that he had for this song, which was inspired and chosen by his sister. But then he followed it up with Can We Work It Out, which he did the same thing, just adding layers and layers of goodness, great vocals and great production. Another song that could be called Underrated, Can We Work It Out? But I admired the effort and the work that he put into 2023 in trying to put out new music. And by the way, he sounds better, and I'll say it on this episode, like I said in the last episode, he sounds better than he's ever sounded and better than what he ever did with Micmac. I just think vocally, he's just progressed, to a great, all-rounded, well-rounded artist. So that's my choice. Our good friend Suave, Mr. Rico Suave himself. Let me not say that too loud because then they'll confuse them and they'll be whatever. So we're going to end with the last one, and that is the what the moment of the year, the WTF moment. So do you have any WTF moments for 2023?
My what the fuck or WTF, I'm sorry, moment of the year was when I got accused of using a photo that was public on Facebook the wrong way. I was offended by it, but again, I just took it with a grain of salt and moved on.
Yeah, it's funny too because the way the world is set up now, right? It's set up to have somebody say something about you, and then you have that scarlet letter. You know what I mean? Yep. So we always have to tread lightly. But knowing you, I don't know you personally, right? We don't hang out. We don't. I look at what you do behind the scenes on social media. I go into your interviews. I've heard some of your interviews, and you study a person for years, and it's like, well, the dedication is there, the careful consideration is there, the always thinking of putting the artist in the best light is there, and you've always done that with every single artist. You always try to craft your shows that you dedicate to them to make them look the best in a great light, right? Even if they're talented or not, right? And this person that you did that for, I just feel was tasteless in accusing you of something that everyone could see was a stunt to become more popular and garner that bendito audience, right? Like, hey, let's get 10 more people to like me because I'm getting attention on social media. And that absolutely backfired. So
Totally did.
that's a horrible what the heck moment of 2023. I hope that in 2024 people want to earn it instead of getting by skating. Skating by is not good. Any WTF moment from you, Danny?
I disappeared from April all the way on into this point, right? But to come back and see what's going to be a 2024 WTF moment from the conspiracy of this so-called track that everyone keeps
Mm.
talking about, that is the only thing I could think of, because I really didn't pay attention to too much of the social nonsense that was going on behind the scenes with the new artists debating their songs and things of that nature.
I can tell you that I know who the artist is and I know the song and who remixed it. The production was well done. And again, they try to blend the vocals as best as they could, but it is gonna be what it is gonna be. I know that I'm not gonna play it, so it is what it is. You'll hear it eventually in January when it comes out. Cheryl, what do you have as your WTF moment of 2023?
My WTF is kind of like, what the clear touch? Where the hell is this song? I want it released. So that was my kind of like. Come on, are you serious? Like the song is so insane, and it could have done so well. And it's like, what the? Why? Just get it together and put it out, man. But
Yeah.
for me, that's all I can think of.
I was there was a couple of sources that let me know the reason why, and it's understandable. And I hope that they can get together and put it out for 2024 with some
Yeah.
remixes, some extended versions, things like that. I think that would be great. My WTF moment for me is people not knowing their place in this genre of music, right? If you're an artist and you're an up and coming artist, you shouldn't be closing out shows that has artists that have been providing entertainment for a longer period than you are, right? Unless you are a Frankie J who did a freestyle song and is on FM radio and is killing it, you shouldn't be closing out shows. And I see a lot of different shows being closed out by people that no one knows, no one cares about. And for some reason, they're given this opportunity because they garner a certain audience that pushes them to that level, but they can't handle being on that level. So they implode, and then it becomes a fault of the community, and it becomes a vicious circle that you just sit back and are like, how are we ever going to get cleared of all these artists, right? And so you have what I call the lower tier, and now we have the never tier, right? The Michael January tier, never going to happen. And these folks are all getting together now to form these little never tier posses, these lower tier posses, and it just seems like the bizarro world, right, is now the real world of freestyle, where the real world of freestyle is now the bizarro world. If it's 2023 and you're offended because I said that if you're a freestyle group, you want to be TKA, I don't know how that's offensive, right? If you're offended because I say you shouldn't be closing out that show because you don't have the experience to close out the show and you close it anyway. You know what I mean? That's the trope. That's the WTF all balled up into one mess where people need to learn their place in this genre and earn it the correct way. So it's just been a consistent year of people, a bunch of metidos.
A few moments later.
I had two WTF moments, right? And this is one that I've had for many years. Are we that off when it comes to our music? When we talk about the top songs and the top artists, we had a consensus here on Deneen. We had a consensus on Tony Moran. I just feel like these radio stations that are out there, they're so like far off into their own world, making people that don't really have talent make pretend that they do have talent, and they create their own top tens, and then they put them on these top tens, and it's like Brenda K. Starr, and then it's Mr. Potato Head, and you're like, why is Mr. Potato Head number one ahead of Brenda K. Starr? You know what I mean? And it's like, and then it gives that appearance of these people are stars, right? Then those people that are pushed forward, they're booked for shows, and people make pretend that they're popular, and then they get a promoter to pay them whatever amount they want to do a show, and then when the night comes, no one's there because they made this person a star. And it's just a stupid moment that happens every year. I don't get it. Are we that far off on music? We can't be.
I wouldn't say
don't
we're
know.
that far off on music. I think we're that far off on listening to the music, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I saw a lot of
Yes,
people.
that
A lot
does
of people
make
had
sense.
a lot of people had Willie Colon Kryptonite on their top charts or whatever, and I'm like, is anybody listening to Deneen or Julio Mena and Coro, Three to the Max? Is like, if you were to put a list of quality songs, that song would it would be far down the list. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
But
you just
but let
go
me
ahead.
say something though. But it has a lot to do with what I said though, CPR, with your who you are, your attitude, and your support. See, I like that song. Would it be my number one? No, but I do like the song, and I love Willie Colon. Why do I love Willie Colon? Because Willie Colon supports everybody. He supports all the artists. He shows up to every show. And again, if you're an artist and you think that that doesn't go into effect when people look at your tracks, you're dead wrong, because it does. It does. So would I put him number one? No, but I got to give him a lot of respect for what he does.
And I did. He's number 40 on my top 40 of 2023. I think he earned that spot. He did that on his own. He earned his own audience on his own. That absolutely he gets props for. I'm a big fan of Willie and Gil, Time. That song has always been, even though it's offbeat and the vocals are off a little bit, it's just one of those songs that when you listen to it, you remember high school, you remember where you were when you got that record. But props to him and the people that support him. It's just that I always feel like the radio stations are not about the artist, it's about putting the artist on a chart, and it's about them. It's not about, hey, let's promote good quality freestyle music, let's push this artist forward, or let's give the artist feedback on the song and how we could make it better. It's just a very self-serving type of situation that doesn't do anything for the community.
Well,
Right.
look at the common theme or the common trope. For example, tonight we spoke about many different things and we agreed on a lot of different things, and people would look at that as, oh, you guys are causing drama or causing nonsense, versus the iRadio stations that are dying for numbers. What do? They empower a no-name artist or and they create these little groups, and they build up these songs and artists for what? Right? They create the drama, they create this. But if we're the ones speaking the truth, talking about, well, this is what we believe, and we're in agreement here, and we're all different entities talking about this one common thing, we're the problem, right? Because we're speaking the truth. We're saying, this is what we believe, this is what we don't believe, while others, they just they do all that stuff just to get their fame, their fan base up, their numbers or fake
Yeah.
numbers or whatever they're doing.
I just hope that I'm going to continue playing quality music. I'm sure that you guys will always be selective. And hey, look, man, cheering for the underdog is not a bad thing. Like I said, there are 3 songs that I never promoted that made my countdown because of what they did. And I've always done that. That is actually called the Artie Rodriguez newbie spot, right? And it's something that I don't call the Artie Rodriguez newbie spot every year, but it is because he's the person that gives the most chances to the most artists and tries to groom them to be the best artists that they could be, even if they have minimal talent, right? So I always figured, let's call out, an artist that has worked hard. In the previous years, we've had Angela E, we've had what's this guy's name? There's a few others that we've had in the last year. Ricky Vaz was one at one time. What ended up stopping that is because of what's going on in the internet freestyle community, and I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be part of trying to get an audience by sacrificing quality music in order to, put out subpar music and subpar people that shouldn't even be promoted.
A few moments later.
So I want to make one thing clear because I know that a lot of people are going to listen to this show, and it's when I say that Deneen was the number one artist, Deneen is my number one artist. So if she doesn't win Artist of the Year when I do my countdown, I bring in 14 different DJs, Tim Schomer, Victor Spina Lopez, quality DJs that come in and they put in their votes. So I take their votes with my votes, I tally them up, and that's what number one is. So for those listening to this show and Deneen doesn't end up being number one, I don't want them to say, well, Risa said she was number one in CPR show, but he didn't pick her. It's not up to me. I put it in the hands of the DJs that I've chosen to help me with the selection.
I would like to piggyback on that. Deneen, When You Talk, has been number one, not going on his 24th week. But that doesn't mean that she's going to be number one for 2023, because it's not how many weeks you've been number one. It's how long you are on the countdown, right? An artist who's been number 3 for 6 months will do better than an artist that was number 1 for 2 months. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And so it's all in the addition of the points, which was taken care of by the Duchess this year. And so just because I love the Deneen record, When You Talk, which I do, is my favorite track of 2023, doesn't mean it's going to be number 1, And so we're going to let the audience also put in their top 3 songs, and we'll let them vote, because this is the only time of the year where I actually let the fans vote. And, of course, I like to see if there's anybody stuffing the ballot or just, playing favorites or whatever. You could tell. So those don't never count. But I enjoy having this conversation with you guys. Danny, did you want to add to the conversation? Anything on the final thoughts?
Nah, I'm just gonna say for Racer, we know she's number 1 in your heart, bro. It's all good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I just want to know where I'm getting my award, because I should get it first in Deneen, I think. Just my.
But that's not what she said.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true.
No, but can I say one more thing though?
Of course.
For those that listen to the show and don't like CPR, and I'll say it. People ask me all the time, why are you friends with CPR? Because he's a cool freaking dude. That's why he's good. So I want to give you your props. You do a great job. You do a great show. Duchess, you deserve an award for just putting up with CPR. You deserve an award for putting up with CPR. Let me tell you, CPR is a cool dude, but he is very stubborn and he's really hard, and that's a good thing, because he's going to stick with what he knows and believes, right?
That's
So
right.
he will argue till he gets his point across, and I respect that.
Well, this has been a great time for me. But what I will say is this, right? I'm always fair and I'm always willing to listen. But this is the way that I was taught. I always told by my predecessors, Jesus the Juice Vasquez, Louis the Legend Rodriguez, Sonny Marini, Alex Rivera, and it's like, and we don't agree too on music. And believe you me, I almost got kicked out of the radio station so many times because I wanted to push new music and they wanted to continue playing the old stuff, or it was a long while before they gave new music a chance, or they were spinning new music all along and they were just not vibing with me. I remember introducing Karen, You Took Away My Life. That song almost took away my career. And that's a story for another day. But the reason why I'm stubborn is because these values that have been passed down to me, I value them. And I want to make sure that if we're going to play the best song from an artist, that is the best representation of our music. If you talk to people like Angel Mena, right? I have a spindle that's this big full of CDs from him of songs that he wanted me to play on the radio, and I rejected. And then he became Mr. NSR. Then he became this producer that's undeniable, with the great quality when it comes to mix downs, with hardcore beats or whatever. And then years later, we have a conversation, and it's like, this is the spindle of all the stuff you sent me that I rejected. And look at what you've accomplished on your own. And the brand that you've brought forth. So I just want the best of any artist, right? Because you're not going to get it right the first time on the first try. There's going to be so many different ways of you trying to better yourself as an artist. And I want to play the best of you. If you give me a song that's a 10, your next song better be a 10 or above. If it's a 6, I don't think it's going to be played on my radio show. And so I've always had that way because we want to also protect the artist's brand, right? And the way you protect their brand is protecting them from themselves, because sometimes they think that they can be their own doctors and they could be their own patients all at the same time. And you just can't do that. And so I hope you understand, like, it's not, I don't have any ill will towards a lot of the people that we discussed today, especially the ones that got negative awards. It's just that it's not songs or artists that belong in our genre of music, but they keep getting all these chances. And you just sit there and you're like, how and why? And is anybody listening? And so I know we want to support everyone. We just can't, you're not meant to be a singer. You may be, you're meant to write songs. You may not be a great writer. You might be a producer. You may not be a good DJ. You may be a good, water boy, whatever, you know what I mean? It's just, some people are meant to do stuff. I'm not Tim Spinning Shomer. I can blend you some songs together, not a problem. I'm not going to be able to take the stems and edit stuff in and, all live. I could do it in the studio. I can, I've learned from my predecessors. I've learned, the reel to reel to whatever the case may be. And I love that. But, we have to preserve our music. We have to be diligent on what we play. And we also have to be the gatekeepers. And I have the toughest gate to break through, and I know that I'm probably cursed by most of the lower tier, but that's because they're the lower tier. Ask Nelson Rego. He was lower tier. He broke through. Undeniable, and so, in 2023, I'm still praising his album that he came out with last year, Persistent. I'm still praising Surrender to Me. Great stuff. Adrenaline, one of my favorite songs of 2023. There are people that I've always said no to. Alex Latin Nation got 3 yeses and 40 no's. It's just the way that I've been, and I hope I'm not beating you over the head with my explanation, but I just love this music to the point where I want people to understand that quality is important. Perfect. But I do respect Racer. I wouldn't invite you here if that wasn't the case. And I'm not saying that you're always wrong on your music. It's just I'm always right about the music.
Oh, you see what I mean, Cheryl? You see?
Daddy G, I owe you a debt of gratitude. He assisted me this year in keeping CPR's music and CPR's Clubhouse. When I was about to say, it's time to let go of the website and the podcast, he stepped in to assist me, and he did it no charge. You know what I mean? That was at least $1,000, maybe, probably more. You know what I mean? He just did it because he's a good person and because he wouldn't take layaway. So, it is good. But thank you so much, Cheryl. You already know. I talked about me losing both my grandmothers within a few months, and you've been there to step in. I don't even need to be on the show anymore. She can do the countdown by herself. She does the points. She does the editing. She does everything. So I'm not needed anymore. I can retire. You can take over, Cheryl.
No, please no. Don't go.
But listen, thank you so much, guys, for being here. If there's anything that you want me to edit out of this, it's too late.
Nope. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having us. It was a lot of fun.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Eddie G Stylz. Check him out at New York City. New York City Rhythm.com. That's NYCRhythm.com. Racer's going to be at FreestyleLoversRadio.com, MusicLoversRadio1.com. You can check out the Duchess and CPR on CPRsmusic.com. Cheryl also has her own Mixcloud that you can go check out. The Duchess, Cheryl Rodriguez. The Duchess is married. Please stop sending pictures. But until next time, it's CPR saying goodbye. And just remember, it's not who you love, it's how. See you in 2024. Send all your hate mail care of the Duchess, Cheryl Rodriguez. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.